Kill music. Yay! Social media. Woo! Yay! Social media. We are here at Divine Design Natural Health. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. We've got a raucous crowd here, just out of control. Where'd that crowd go? Right there. Oh, goodness. Sends chills through your spine, doesn't it? That's just loud right there. So we are back from a long break. Last event we had was the end of May. A lot of stuff's happened since then, and we'll clue you in on that maybe at a later date. We want to keep this one short and simple, concise, to the point. Go 6 o'clock. It's right now 10 after. We'll go till 7. And we've got a few slides, a few things that I want to get through, dealing with some of the big stuff that's going on in the world, in the media, and in the healthcare field. We've got a couple special guests joining us here in a minute, so stick around. One of them is a healthcare professional, and one of them knows quite a lot to do with breathing. So, well, I'll introduce all that to you later on. I'll just read you some of the stuff that, I'll just read you some of this. I'll read you really quickly the reason why we're doing this. Oh, hi, sweetheart. Oh, we've got the youngest WellWorks attendee for the night. This will be great. She'll be wonderful and quiet, right? Perfect. But the reason that we're doing the more frequent WellWorks, we used to just do once every 2 weeks. And we found that was good, and we were rocking with the crowd and stuff like that. But this will give us more continuity, and this will be able to dispel some of the myths and some of the problems that we're having with some of the news issues that are going on. Young, come on in. Don't let me hold you up. Come on in. And so we'll have our every other week classes. Next week is the 20th. That will more than likely be Lies Doctors Tell Part 3. We didn't have time to get all the materials together and all of the flyers and stuff together. You can come on in. But that will likely be more like Lies Doctors Tell Part 3. That's a series that we've done. That has been, here, can you scooch down this way, darling? Come on in, you guys. Fill up the front rows here. Come on in. And if you're in the front row or second row, I get to spit all over you. So that will be, Lies Doctors Tell is part 3 of a series that we're going to be doing in dealing with all of the healthcare stuff that people have been told. Okay, so Lies Doctors Tell Part 1, that's on YouTube and Facebook. Lies Doctors Tell Part 2, that's on YouTube and Facebook. And Lies Doctors Tell Part 3 will be coming up probably next week. Don't hold me to that, but there's a lot of other topics we're going to talk about, such as some of the doctors that are winding up missing. We're going to talk about 5G. We're going to talk about a lot of other topics in healthcare. This week, though, and every other week, what we're going to do is talk about some of the stuff that you're being hit with on a daily basis, dealing with this whole national thing, this whole worldwide thing, dealing with the pandemic. So with the events of the last 2 months, the team here has realized that we have the world's greatest patients. This was a post that we put on Facebook a little while back. Breyer. With the events of the last 2 months, the team at Divine Design Natural Health has realized that we have the world's greatest patients. Everybody say yay. Yay. World's greatest patients. Why? Great question. They're educated, they're proactive, they're healthy, and they're completely unafraid of the current situation and its propaganda. Why? Great question. Because when people are empowered and made aware of the very real dangers hidden in plain sight, all the things we teach, such as the injectants, the geoengineering, the drugs, the GMOs present in the food, the fluoride, all that stuff. They cannot be easily tricked by an invisible virus or its supposed magical cure. They know their creator's ingenuity is greater than any chemical cocktail made by man. So once again, this is a little Facebook post that I put a little while ago announcing that we're doing this every 2 weeks. Here's the reason why. I'm reading this. So in great appreciation, we have prepared to deliver more value to our patients by increasing the frequency of our wellness workshops to a weekly basis starting Monday, July 13th. So thank you for being here. The impetus for this decision rests in the fact that your immunity, your healthcare truths, and individual liberties are now under attack. We mean to change that. So the whole reason we're doing these, here we are. There are only 2 possible options in the near future. Okay, number 1, you believe in personal liberty and sovereignty to decide what goes into your body, or number 2, you believe that openly corrupt organizations should dictate what goes into your body. So our patients need us, love us, and appreciate us. We know this. Therefore, we will never stop providing essential services for our beloved patients to avoid the same system that is currently exposing itself as corrupt and fraudulent. So we're going to address some of those things today. It's impossible now, you've all noticed this, it's impossible to avoid this topic, the whole COVID thing. Has anyone in here been able to avoid its impact? Between masks, between mandates, between certain things coming down the pike, you haven't been able to avoid it on the news. I don't own a television, I don't even watch it on TV, but I'm impacted by it because people come in from watching TV and they ask me about, hey, what's happening with this? What's going on with this? What are we going to do when this comes? What's this and this and this happening? And of course, I'm talking to and following and listening to and involved in groups of physicians all over the world. And so we're hearing things and seeing things. And then I talk to my medical people who are coming in, who are the majority of who comes here are registered nurses, respiratory therapists, physical therapists. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. I'd say a good majority of people who are here are medical professionals. So they're hearing things, they're seeing things. We're all kind of combining our heads, putting our heads together and going, wow, you heard that? And wow, this happened? This really happened? So it's not the only time I'm hearing most of this stuff. And I'm sure many of you here, I see 2 or 3 RNs in the crowd. Many people here are experiencing these things. So I'm going to blow right into where we're at. It is impossible to avoid this topic. One of the things that breaks my heart is, first slide, I think, should deal with, I pulled this, this is from a church website. And if we're going this route, if we get to this, oh no, not this one. This is the church website, the sick must stay home. Oh, this is good though. Let's stay here for a minute. And I'll say this, everything that I say to you is not meant to poke fun at people. It's not meant to jab. It's not meant to tear down. It's meant in love. Because the 3 filters that I put everything through before any syllable comes out of my mouth here is, first of all, is it biblical? Does it make biblical sense? Okay? There's a lot of information in the Bible, and man, if you search it out, you can find it. Secondly, is it logical? Is it a logical thing that I side with, or is it just an emotional reaction to something that I've been presented an option to from the media or from someone else? Is it just pure emotion, or is there logic behind it? Thirdly, is it physiologically accurate? If you know physiology, you cannot be lied to. They can tell you that this poison is good for you, but if you know the physiology behind how that poison works and what it does to the human body and the cells, and you don't have to know the biology and the chemistry, but it helps to. So if you know the physiology behind something, you can easily look at it and go, well, if that's poison outside the human body, there's no way it's good inside the human body. So if you know physiology, A, you'll never be lied to. Well, we'll just end it there. Biblical, logical, and physiological. So that previous thing, did everybody get a chance to read that? Yeah. So here's from a church website. This is a church website which is supposed to be the bastion of health and healing. All right. This is supposed to be where the Salvation Army came from. This is where YMC came from. This is where universities came from. All came from the expansion of Christianity into the world. Okay. So if churches are going this route, I want you all to think and pray hard about this. I'll go back for a minute too. None of this is meant to bash anybody. You can wear a mask, you cannot wear a mask. You can get the vaccine, you cannot get the vaccine. I'm just presenting the stuff to you, telling you what I would do. And Danny, what I would do if you're my brother, if you were my sister, if you were my brother, if you're my mom, my dad, I'm saying, here's the facts, here's the stuff, look at it. And that's all I'm saying. Out of love. Not out of disrespect, there's a lot of craziness going on out there. So there's a lot of disrespect, there's a lot of division going on. I'm not adding to that. I'm trying to subtract that. This is a church website. The sick must stay home. Is there a problem with that? Where do the sick go?
Be healed.
To be healed. Aren't they supposed to go to the church?
Yeah.
So let me ask again, is there a problem with that? A little bit of a problem with that. Where else are they supposed to go? Temperature checked upon entry. Do you have a problem with that? See where I'm going with this? How do they check your temperature? Put a gun to your head. Okay? Some people might not have a problem with that. Although if you talk to somebody who's had PTSD or has been robbed or something like that, there might be a severe problem with that. Masks are required. Hand sanitizing stations are provided. No children's church. Is there any problem with any of that? No nursery. Any problem with any of that? No handshakes. Let me remind, where was this from? This is a church website. And I'm not saying what church it was or anything. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just saying this is an example of what's happening. No nursery, no handshakes, no hugs, no physical contact of any kind, no laying hands on the sick, right? No beverages served. What are you going to do about your coffee? I mean, come on now. What if, no communion. What I'm saying is communion. Where'd the communion go? Remember when this rolled out, what got hit? Passover. What was the first holiday that hit? Passover. Then what happened? Memorial Day. And we all knew COVID Part 2 was coming July 4th. We all knew that. It came right on time. No beverages served. Social distancing followed, and only touchless participation is allowed. Is this news to anybody? That's all everybody knew that? Well, I'm sorry to say. That's the new world that we're living in. I will not say the new normal, because a new normal used to be called abnormal, by the way. You get that, right? Commercial break.
All right, so this person is a relatively new patient. She's actually here today. She said, I had a mole I was concerned about, and it was very strange looking. After the first sauna, it began looking better. After the third sauna, it is 90% better and almost back to normal. Yeah. So our infrared saunas are super helpful. Not just for sweating, but for lots of other things.
Ooh, yay. Yay, mole's falling off. Perfect. So what that was, I'll just say it's not biblical. It's not, is it conformed to the world? And is it in bondage? Or is it, you can come on up, darling. Or is it free and victorious? You know, if unbelief is sin, if not even believing that you can heal is sin, where is that? And I'm not calling out any specific church or anything like that, but I just want you to really, really think about where this is going. Some churches are now having you register online with your name, your address, your phone number, your email address, as if you're saving reservations for dinner. So you get there and you arrive and they escort you to your seat, and then you get up and you're done and you escort out. And if you want prayer, you turn right. If you don't want prayer, you go left and you go out the door. It's very methodical, very social distanced. I just have to draw attention to this because it bugs me. It just bugs me. And if you're at all bugged by this, you're not alone. Okay. So if we have power over all the works of the enemy and God's your salvation, it's not the CDC, right? Even though that's not a government organization. It looks like one, but it's not. But we need to know this. So if none shall buy or sell or trade without the mark, well, and right now it's none shall buy, sell, or trade without the mask. You see where this is going. I mean, I hate to be the watchman on the wall, or I hate to be the one. Well, no, I don't hate it. I hate to get the fire from some people, because this is not a friendly issue. This is not something that you're going to make friends over, probably. But man, you got to know what's going on. I'd rather be awake and taking bullets in the face than laying face down and just not knowing what's coming. So just remember that. I implore you. It's Revelation 13 if you want to look that up. So the mask is not the mark. I'm not saying that, but it's something that's leading to it. It's a priming for it, if we could say. How do I know? Well, they're already talking about digital tattoos. They're already talking about digital chips. They're already talking about certificates of vaccination. So if you cannot go into a place without a mask on, regardless of the science that we're going to get to here in a minute, if you cannot go into a place without a mask on, it's only a matter of time until it becomes you can't go in unless you're vaccinated, or it's you can't go in unless you have a digital chip or a digital mark or a digital tattoo of some sort. Everybody gets where that's going, right? We're in a company of believers here. We're in Cleveland, Tennessee, for crying out loud. If we can't talk about this and have everybody nodding their heads like, yeah, I get that, then I don't know where you can. So health passports, digital IDs, ability to work or travel will be combined eventually. We all know that. That's coming. Next slide. Scripture about and definition of pneuma. So the spirit, the breath of life, the nostrils. This is not anything that anybody in this room probably doesn't know, but I want you to draw. What was that? What was that? Uh-oh. Everybody grab your masks. Just kidding. Scripture, pneuma, spirit, breath of life, nostrils, right? And these are some scriptural references. The Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. It's replete with, the Bible is absolutely chock full of every mention of spirit and every mention. Pneuma is where we get the word pneumonia. It means lungs. That's pneuma. That's the Greek word. Hebrew word, ruach. Greek word, pneuma. Spirit of God. Then the Lord God formed a man from the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. If I were a bad guy, what part of the human body might I cover to inflict mass damage? Or to decrease the spirit or the breath of God? It's a possibility. Respiratory. What part of the body? Where did God breathe into the body? Nostrils. So this is more, there's a spiritual side of this, but there's a physiological side to it as well. I just want to open you up to some of these ideas because we're covering up your identity, we're covering up your ability to speak, your ability to breathe, your ability to eat, and we're standing you 6 feet apart for a reason, and it's not what you're being told. Problems with this. So we're stifling and quieting the spirit of man. And you are nothing but spirit. You are spiritual beings on a physical journey, contrary to what you've been taught, that you're physical beings on a spiritual journey. You are spiritual. Everybody in this room will live forever, spiritually, somewhere, somehow, right? Your body will go away, your worm food, yeah. Your earth suit, your worm food goes bye-bye. But your spirit is what's the important part. Everything that we see goes far away. Everything we don't see will be forever. I love that scripture in the Bible. So is there another one to this? What else did we find here? Okay, good. Fine. Well, we'll get to the solutions here in a minute. I want to list some problems. I want to blow you away with problems. We'll get to don't reveal the solutions quite yet. We got to pound the problems for a while. So the problems with this whole thing, and the things that you're going to see, we've got to pound the problems. Yeah, we got to be like the bad guys. Here's the problem. There's no solution. So for the first time in history, this dawned on me the other day, and it just leveled me. I thought, I'm watching these people in a restaurant the other night with some friends, and for the first time it hit me. It just dropped into my head, and I thought, for the first time in recorded human history, the entire population of the earth has been coerced into buying a product. Not only a product to cover up their most valuable asset, a product to cover up their face, a product, they're paying money to cover their face, their breathing, their eating, their speaking organs. I thought, wow, what else could ever happen where instantly overnight, every person goes to buy the same product? Now, whether there's something mom made in the sewing shop or whether it's something you got on eBay or Amazon or whatever, everybody's launched into this. It's just so interesting that so quickly the minds of man can be so turned to all perform the same action. I found it so interesting. So this complicates their actions of eating and breathing and speaking. That's one thing. I think we do have the asterisks. Are those for later on?
Where the memes are.
Oh, so are those? Okay, we're ready for the meme? Let's hit the meme. Now, some of these are funny, some of them aren't, okay? Imagine a virus this is a friend of mine, Jason, if you're out there. I know you watch, man, so I hope you see this. Imagine a virus so deadly that you have to be tested to see if you even have it. I don't know where he got that. That's genius, but I thought that's a good one. So many people are what kind of carriers?
Asymptomatic.
Everybody's programmed. They know the word. What's an asymptomatic carrier called? Yeah, what's an asymptomatic carrier? The other name for an asymptomatic carrier?
Healthy.
Healthy, right. Are you asymptomatic carriers of other diseases right now?
Yeah.
Have you been your whole lives?
Yes.
See the simplicity of this. Logical, biblical, physiological, right? So easy. So, so that's a great one. This is the mask needed to prevent virus inhalation and absorption through the eyes. This is a mind control device, part of a pandemic psyop. I thought that was kind of funny. Okay. So there's no evidence that masks will stop disease despite widespread media coverage. There's no evidence that they'll stop disease. And if you remember, back when this whole thing started, the powers that be said, don't wear masks. And then they flipped and they said, now do wear masks. 4 months ago, it was, they're of no benefit. 4 months ago, it was, these are the numbers that are going to go through the roof. Now we're 4 months later, and now we're seeing some massive, massive turnarounds where now they're saying, oh, yeah, we'll do our masks. Well, we're a little late now. Flu and other diseases required no masks until this one took over the headlines. I think there's a meme for this one. Oh, this was actually, I found this online. This is so great. And you know what? This is not meant to be a barb to anybody, but this was from Gatlinburg. I was just in Gatlinburg about a month ago. We started our month-long honeymoon. We were in Gatlinburg, and it was a cluster. They had just opened, and everybody was wearing masks, and there were signs on every shop. But this is one that we did not see. This was actually on Facebook. There's a virus less deadly than the flu. Fake prediction models, recommended treatments that are killing people, unreliable and contaminated test kits, ridiculously inflated death counts, media-induced hysteria to push an agenda whereby the end goal is to enslave humanity with forced shots, microchips, and police state surveillance. There is no scamdemic. This is Agenda 21 being played out in real life. I thought that was that was a business owner in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Isn't that crazy? How many of you can say some amen to that right there? Yeah, I try to look at this thing logically, and like I try to see both sides, and I try to remember all my immunology and all my virology from my undergrad and grad school, you know, from 13 years of college, and I'm looking back going, man, those viruses are tiny little buggers. They could crawl right through that mask and right up in your face. They're tiny. How is everybody believing that this little cloth mask that Grandma made, how is that going to stop anything? You can see through it. Just makes you wonder. Okay, so let me go through a few more problems here. There's no evidence that, I already read that. Flu and other diseases required no masks until this one. What's the survival rate? Oh, I see you smiling. Oh yeah, this one I made up the other night. Eric was there. Yeah, Andre was there. Yeah, I came up with a few Corona zingers, and I thought I'm going to have to put these in there. Muggles, you get it. I love it. 99% survival rate, but millions lock themselves in their homes. Keep on that one for a minute, Jonathan. We'll just stay there. What's the survival rate? Huh? 97, 99.9, I've heard from various sources. 97, you've seen. So the big thing with that is where are the numbers? I mean, I'm all for protecting people and I'm all for keeping people safe, but I'm not seeing the numbers that we were told we were going to see. Just let's be logical about it. Let's just look at this. Are we doing more harm or are we doing more good? In other words, the harm to benefit ratio is kind of lopsided. Asymptomatic carriers are now viewed as death factories, despite the fact that they carry many diseases. We already spoke about that one just now. And piggybacking on the top of what we just said, logically we should think this out and go, where are all the dead bodies? Where are all the incinerated masses, the piles of people? Not to get morbid, but where's the logical? Where is all of the hype coming from? You know, I'm not seeing parking lots full of dead people. I'm not seeing, remember the Navy ships outside New York and California and all that stuff. They were empty. So let's just think logically. We're on number 8. We'll be right back. We've got a commercial break. Go for it, Andrea. Yay.
All right. This one is about restored vision, I guess you could say. She said, my last pair of glasses had an adjustment for an astigmatism, but now I'm wearing my previous glasses, which do not have an astigmatism adjustment. So in other words, she was able to backtrack and go back to her lesser prescription glasses that were not adjusted for an astigmatism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're wondering about that, no, I'm not an optometrist. I'm not an ophthalmologist. Just people's eyes get better. We change their diet. We rebuild their eyes are organs. So you rebuild your organs over time. I used to wear glasses. I can show you my driver's license. Got rid of them. And here's another example. So people just frequently report back to me, hey, I think my glasses are, I need to go back to an old pair of glasses for an old prescription. And that's what happened there. So, okay. What happened when all this went down as far as other causes of death? Anybody? Other causes of death? Well, where'd pneumonia? Yeah, where'd pneumonia go? Where'd heart disease go? Where'd cancer go? So I've got the actual paperwork that was sent. I think we talked about this back in March, I think is when we rolled this, or January. We kind of predicted that this was going to happen based on a document that had been around for a long time. And in January, and then we also talked about it in February, and we showed the actual document from the National Institute of Health that many doctors, including ones that I've worked with, got in the mail saying how to address and how to label the causes of death appropriately so as to inflate the numbers. Everybody gets what I mean by that? CV19, this is how you fill out the death certificate to make sure that it's counted properly. Does that make sense? It wasn't ethical or moral. It was all these other diseases went away, and this one takes the headlines. It's the exact same gameplay that happened. I explained this before. The exact same gameplay. If you're interested in knowing this is a very good part of medical history. Right now, what's happening is the exact same thing that happened with polio 80 years ago. I can explain that later if you want to get into that. I want to blaze through here. We're making good time, and I've got 2 guests I want to introduce to you. So I'm going to blow through this, and we're going to discuss some of that here in a minute. The statistics are coming from organizations that have openly, here's problem number 9. The stats are coming from organizations that have openly admitted fraud and corruption, as well as plenty of media manipulation to propagate fear. Would you all agree with that? It's crazy. Everyone, well, not everyone, many people are reporting. Independent reporters, independent people on Facebook and YouTube are inflating, are documenting, I should say, inflated numbers and seeing that things are manipulated for political purposes to divide our communities, as you're seeing regularly, I'm sure, unfortunately. Number 11 here is, according to independent news coming from healthcare professionals, falsified death certificates are inflating the overall number of deaths. We just spoke about that one, just out of order. Number 12, this should alarm everyone. Raise your hand if you have not seen censorship in social media as of recently. Not one single hand goes up. You've seen it? You've seen people being censored? Everyone has seen censorship happening. About what topics? Which topics? COVID and 5G. Huge. That was the first one. Huge. That was the first one. What's the solution for COVID, according to the media?
Vaccines.
Correct. What was the first thing that got a lot of censorship on Facebook and YouTube? Do you see a pattern? What's affecting oxygen levels in the blood with hemoglobin dissociation and all the stuff that you're not being told about?
5G.
Interesting. What went up overnight during the lockdown on the towers and the water towers? I'm not sure if we put the water tower pictures. That's okay. We didn't have to because 5G class is coming up probably in another 2 weeks after this one. But you're seeing them on water towers now in cities. You're seeing them on schools. You're seeing them on college campuses. You're seeing them on old billboards. We got pictures. I just traveled all over this nation, about 3,000 driving miles. Oh, and I went to Mexico. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But I saw 5G panels absolutely everywhere. It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to our old Facebook or YouTube videos. There are 2 videos we have on everything you need to know about 5G, and it's condensed and compiled into some very discernible nuggets from PhDs, people who've been watching this and sounding the alarm for decades. They're both called 5G something, 5G and EMFs, I think. Andrew, you can look up the names, right? 5G EMFs. I don't remember the names. The two classes. If you want to know, let me know. We'll look them up at the end. So social media, we just discussed. Everyone in this room agreed. Social media is censoring information from independent doctors who have awakened to what is happening. Yes or yes? That should be your first clue. When someone censors something, what does that tell you? There's something in there that you might want to know. I'll leave it at that before I get censored. Number 13, why did mask mandates start 4 months after the beginning of this? That's something you might want to ask yourself. Number 14, there are millions of additional viruses after this one. When do the masks stop? This is one virus. Think about it. What happens when you finally conquer corona? What's standing right behind corona? Another virus, another bacteria, a fungus, a parasite. There will be what type of censored information that will be the cure for that virus? Say it louder.
Vaccine.
Shot. Yep, totally. Why does a handkerchief work as well as an N95? Doesn't matter what. Oh, that got a laugh. Why does a handkerchief work just as well as an N95 mask? Anybody? It doesn't. It's about your compliance. It's not about health. We've all looked at this. Some dude using his shirt sleeve, like, but this guy over here is wearing a full surgical. What's going on here? And then people at the door want to inspect your mask, make sure it's legit. Well, you tell me you got to wear it. You don't get to inspect it. Come now. We're almost done here. Oh, you'll love this one. Wearing a mask, walking to your table, and then removing your mask is required for entry into the restaurant. Have you seen this? You walk in. I've not done this. I won't do this, but that's what the requirement is. So here's a little story for you. Number 17. We just returned from Mexico. Hand sanitizer and chemicals are everywhere. On any given day, you could go to 4 or 5 different places. Every place you walk into, they're wanting to spray down your shoes, spray down your body, give you hand sanitizer. What is this? I don't know what this is. You want me to spread this chemical on my body somewhere? What is this? Could have been a dozen places you go in a day, and every time you walk into some place, they want to swab your hands, they want to give you stuff. So that everywhere you look, people are doing this. you could easily expose yourself to how many products, which would have how many chemicals in each one of those products. Multiply that together and tell me, that should make breathing easier, right? See the agenda here? I mean, it's unbelievable. So if you submit to every person wanting to squirt something in your hands at the airport, at the hotel, the van picking you up at the airport to take you to the hotel, the place you go for breakfast, the place you go for lunch and dinner, if you want to submit to that, you can. Not wise, but you can. So hand sanitizer and chemicals were everywhere. They had machines you walk through to sanitize you. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, this is like the backscatter radiation machines after the Vegas shooting. I mean, this is big stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. But here's the kicker I want you to get. Social distancing in Mexico is only what? 5 feet. And it has nothing to do with metric versus standard. It's 5 feet, not 5. It's 5 feet. Here it's 6 feet. Why is that? Somebody, if you got a good answer for that, you let me know. Because I want to know. It has nothing to do with the height of the people. No. I see some gears turning. They're a little shorter, but, has nothing. I see some gears turning. I saw that in your eyes. Shady shysters. But no, it's only 5 feet in Mexico. So that virus must be much, much stronger in Mexico. Number 18, everyone is tested now. Colds, flus, previous injectants. And by injectants, you know what word I'm trying to say to not get hammered here. Colds, flus, and previous injectants can make anyone positive, specifically after you have multiple attempts at a positive result. I'll read that again. Colds, if you had a previous coronavirus, cold. If you had a previous flu virus, cold. Or a previous coronavirus, cold or a flu, or if you had a previous injectant that contained live or attenuated viral components of the coronavirus, what do you think you might test for if you did get tested? What do you think might be positive? What it's possible that it would be positive? Think about it. And specifically, if you go and you get tested, it's negative, you get tested, it's negative, you get tested, it's positive, what does that tell you? What if the tests themselves are corrupt? Maybe we'll cover that later. I'm not sure. I doubt it. So, eating, breathing, speaking are covered with a plastic mask. Where's the plastic mask made? China. Made in China. Made in China. Does this make sense? So you're breathing out the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide can bond with ethylene or neoprene or plastic molecules and then break down into what? Something that would be good for you to breathe in or something that would be bad for you to breathe in. So if you're breathing out into a hot plastic mask and then you're breathing back in, is that going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Horrible thing. Think about it. I'm not saying I don't love people. I'm not saying, hey, if you take your mask off, you're a bad person and you don't care about your neighbor. No. I'm saying think logically. Is this a good thing for you or not? CO2 exhalation, we just talked about that. Oh, I'm skipping a couple of, we need to go. Number 19, the eating, breathing, speaking covered by a plastic mask. Hearing problems and breathing problems are greatly affected. I think we've got a meme for this one. I find so many interesting things here that it's so crazy. Know the facts. Well, this is a factual one. Okay, know the facts before you wear one. It decreases your oxygen intake. It can't but decrease your oxygen intake. There's no other way it can do it. Many videos out there, nurses putting a surgical mask on and then checking their pulse ox, and it'll go in the levels that probably people would be put on oxygen if they were to walk in with a pulse oximetry level like that. We take pulse ox here. I don't like seeing them below 97, 98. So it decreases your oxygen intake. It increases toxin inhalation, just like what we talked about there. It shuts down your immune system. Think about it this way. We'll have someone talk about this in just a little while. If you are constantly rebreathing your own CO2 and not getting enough oxygen, is your rest and digest nervous system going to be up and going, or is your fight and flight nervous system going to be up and going? Fight or flight. If your fight or flight system is up and going, heavy, is your body thinking about fighting off an immune problem? No, it's a gas and a brake pedal. Physiology, man. You can't have a gas pedal and a brake pedal on at the same time and not have your engine burn out. Simple, really easy, right? So if you have that mask on, you're driving your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight system, and you're decreasing your immune system at the same time. It's genius. It really is. Number 4, it increases your virus risk. Why? Because you're wearing a diaper on your face and you're sucking on it. Bad idea. Number 5, scientifically inaccurate. Virologists measure CV to be 80 to 140 nanometers in size, making the weave of material mass to be the equivalent of a chain link fence to a mosquito. I love that analogy. It's such a visual, it's a great analogy, and there's some docs out there that are kind of making that famous. And its effectiveness is not studied. Absolutely no peer-reviewed studies have been carried out of mask effectiveness within a social environment to control, prevent, or eliminate the spread of disease. I've got the papers. Just like I have the papers of the NIH saying, here's how you do the death certificates. And here is a commercial break. Hello, Andrea.
All right, this one's real short and sweet. But she said, my sisters are starting to ask me what I'm doing because I'm nicer to talk with.
Did you write that one?
That's not me. No, I did not write that.
You wrote that.
Yes.
No, somebody. Oh, that's somebody in this room, actually. That is somebody in. I don't know who you are. What do we got? Where am I? Number 21. Give her a microphone right there. It's a talk, yeah. Trucks. We've got plenty of trucks. Okay, number 21. Oh no, 22. Well, yeah, we covered number 20. 21. What is not mentioned as a reason for decreased oxygen performance? Eric, say it again. What is not mentioned as a reason for decreased oxygen performance in the human body? The thing we talked about that's being censored? He just spaced. It's 5G. He just spaced. 22, number 22, Nike, Adidas. Other companies are making designer masks now. Have you seen all these? Victoria's Secret, all the other big name, Banana Republic. They're making designer masks. This is going to become a permanent, I hate to say this, I hate to speak this, but this is so now ingrained as a permanent part of our culture. There will be people, there were people taking their vacation pictures on some of the locations we went to saying, yeah, put your mask on, put your mask on. That's how I'll remember what year it was. It just broke my heart. I hate to say this, but even the big box retailers are making this into a thing where it's going to be everywhere. And now every statue and every mannequin has what on it? No. Oh, look around. So you got Nike, Adidas, Columbia. I've seen like some of the big outdoor manufacturers now. How are you going to climb a mountain with a diaper on your face? You know what I mean? How does that make sense? And other companies are making designer masks, so it's going to be a permanent part of our culture in many videos and in movies that will replay continuously. At the hotel lobby, the hotel in Mexico where we were, had the videos in the front lobby were already converted to everyone in the videos had masks on. I don't know how they did it that fast. It was just ridiculous. Number 22, every mannequin and statue now wears a mask. We talked about that. Number 24, media is replete with commercials supporting the emotional aspects of mask use. Emotional and logical. Can you be both at the same time? Is it possible to be both emotional and logical at this very same time? Not unless you're God. Humans can't do it. You cannot be emotional and logical at the same time. Your two different parts of your brain have to function. So if you're thinking logically, you won't think emotionally, and if you're thinking emotionally, you won't think logically. So knowing that people are emotional, knowing that their oxygen is decreased, knowing that they're now in fight or flight, emotional, they're in the perfect environment to be manipulated. Masks are not sanitized, harbor more microorganisms with continued use. You've seen this with the guy walking through the supermarket with his mask on his elbow, right? And then or lets it hang down. You can't make this up, and I'm not making fun of people. I'm just saying we got to wake up and think logically about this. Social media shaming and censorship has become widespread. Here's a little meme, I think, on this topic. Social media shaming and censorship has become widespread, I believe. You see so many people, yeah, this is perfect. So what you say, a friend of mine, or I might have to say ex-friend of mine, posted this the other day. Most people, this is what you say. Now, between your mouth and some people's ears, this is what they hear. When you say most people don't die from it, they hear thousands of people who die from COVID-19 every week are insignificant to me. That's not what, no, we said most people don't die from it. What you're hearing is that, but we said most people don't die from it. It's a 99.9 or 97% survival rate. Okay, so the turning of things, the twisting, the manipulation of emotional responses to logical observations. Look at it. We have to get back to our lives, we're saying. The whole economy is taking a crap. The response to this should be tailored to my talent. What they're hearing is that we should tailor our response because of my inconvenience, regardless of other people's safety. Didn't say that. Said this. I don't live in fear. I'm willing to endanger the people around me to prove how brave I am. Not what we said. Can you live in fear and faith at the same time? No. Exactly. Keeping me at home is a violation of my freedom. Well, you do have a right to assemble, do you not? What they hear sometimes is the most pressing injustice right now is my inconvenience, not other people getting sick and dying. That's not what we said. We said this. Okay? And you're exaggerating it because you're out to get Trump. Never said that. But it's interesting that the whole thing started the very day that he was exonerated after an impeachment. Funny. COVID Part 1 took a break for George Floyd. COVID Part 2 started immediately after. I find this interesting. And it's not political, it's just observational. Very observational, just looking at this stuff. Look at this around Labor Day. Yeah, we'll talk more around Labor Day. Number 20, so this shaming thing is just getting really bad. Have you guys all seen this on your feeds? It's sad. We're social creations. Social distancing is conditioning people to be separated for 5G recognition, facial identification, and tracking systems. You guys know where this is going, right? We talked about 5G a minute ago. In order to create and monitor to monitor gatherings of people, social distancing is about building distrust between people and decreasing relationships. The facial recognition software won't work under 6 feet. You can't pick up your face. It confuses the AI, and we have to stand that far apart. If you haven't heard that one yet, there's a reason why it's 6 feet apart. Why not 5 feet? Mexico, it's 5 feet. Why is that? You have to think critically about this. Why would they want you 6 feet apart? With 5G, you'll be able to, with 3G, like the Find My iPhone stuff on your phone, it used to be that was within a 50-foot radius. You could zero it in right down to a 50-foot thing. All my old classes, the 5G classes that we can find the names for, they're all on YouTube and Facebook, that you can go back and check. I'm quoting some of these PhD guys who have figured out that it used to be with 3G and 4G that you could get within 50 feet of your phone. What do you think you can get within now with 5G? 5 feet. We can zero in on a building now, and we can tell immediately how many people are in that building based on the number of blips on the radar screen of how many phones. And if they're all standing 6 feet apart, guess what we've now done? Increased our accuracy. Think about it. This is all out there. This is all easily findable stuff, easily searchable, okay? Number 28, a scrap of fabric will not save you from a deadly disease if it's really a deadly disease. Is your mask or your God your actual salvation? Number 28, and we got a meme right here. Yeah, it's so interesting to see so many people suddenly worried about asymptomatic carriers, which we talked about. What's the other word for asymptomatic carriers? They never cared when they shot their kids with live shots and sent them to school. Man, what a great observation. So interesting. So interesting. And you just read the insert. You don't have any inserts? Ask me. I've got tons of them from my pharmacist patients. The inserts right there will tell you what's in the stuff. And I was taught in chiropractic school vaccines are safe and effective. So this isn't some chiropractic quackery. This is stuff just looking at it observationally, looking at it logically and going, okay, I don't know if I'm going to like what this says. And you read it and you go, whoa, I don't like what this says. You have to be okay with unlearning some stuff that you've learned. Then you'll have true wisdom there, I guess. Quarantine's been around since the Old Testament. Check that out. It's all over the place. Quarantine has been around since ancient days. You keep the sick together, and you keep them separated from the healthy. Social distancing started in March of 2020. I can't think of another time when social distancing was in the news. But if you want to, we can talk about polio 80 years ago at the end of this thing. We got to get through just a couple more. That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Virginia Freedom Keepers. Whew. That's a good one. Telling you what. Some churches now want attendees to register. We talked about that. I have, just the other day, I saw some churches are offering free COVID testing. Interesting. Some churches have free vaccines. depending on time of the year. I don't want to speak into that too much, but you already kind of know where that's going. You already kind of know that's heavy on my heart. Number 32, the faulty testing kits. This is big. This is becoming a big deal. The Tanzanian, who are we talking about this with? Tanzania or Nigeria? Tanzania. The president of Tanzania, in a feat of just foresight, tested a monkey, tested a mango, a goat, and a papaya. And they came back positive. Can't make that up. Come on now. So what if the faulty testing kits, what we're hearing in my circles is people who scheduled an appointment at CVS or scheduled an appointment at their doctor to go get tested, never went to the test, they canceled it, they didn't show up. Then they get a text message on their phone that they're positive. I'll say that again. They never arrived to their testing appointment to get swabbed. They never went. A week later, 7-8 days later, they get a text on their phone that says they're now COVID positive. How does that work? And that I've heard from multiple people. I've seen it all over the internet. I've seen video on the internet. I've heard audio on the internet, and I heard it today, actually. Something to think about. But what happens to your name, number 33? Your name will be entered into databases of positive test results for future use. If you test positive for something, where do you think your name's going to go? Okay. Oh, and there's a meme for that one, I do believe, right? I hope it's a funny one. I feel it's heavy in here all of a sudden. Nope, not a funny one. Let me explain where this is going. Oh, I hate this, but you have to put this together, you guys, or you and your friends and family have to put this together. Let me explain where this is going. We're here right now. I don't know how much time it's going to take. Nobody knows, but this is the precursor. This is the primer for it. Okay. Now, are there any other memes we need to roll through? That's it? Fabulous. So now, well, let's not move the camera over, Ryan. Keep the camera on me. I want, we got a 58, the handheld, that we can use real quick. Oh, yeah. We'll just hand that right here. And so Scarlett's going to talk for a minute, and she's going to explain. I'm just going to ask a few questions. Keep the camera here, I guess. Scarlett's right here. So Scarlett, she's going to answer a few questions. And I guess if you don't want to answer anything, just let me know. But I'll just ask you, what do you do for a living?
I'm a registered nurse.
Okay. And what, registered nurse. And so what's been your experience with some of this? Do you have some of these questions that you found answers to, or?
Well, I haven't really had any answers to any questions. I've been in the front lines of a lot of it because I worked in an intensive care setting. And I'm also currently just recently switched a job where I'm now working in cardiac. But I've seen all along, just strange things. I've seen the testing. I've seen the hospitals empty when they said there was going to be a run of people. I've seen just most people that we've tested being negative and not even have positive tests. I've seen them test people who were on ventilators and were not testing positive. They tested somebody 3 different times, knowing that person was going to pass away, and I think hoping that they would have a positive test, which never occurred.
Now, explain that to me. Why would they hope that there would be a positive test before they pass away?
It was a Medicare patient, and they would get reimbursed $39,000 for a death on a ventilator.
A death on a ventilator?
Yes.
So reimbursed $39K?
Yes.
In the hospital setting? So, interesting.
Yeah,
which is widely out there. She's not blowing smoke. I know that to be true from what I've listened to, seen, and heard reported by other healthcare professionals.
Yeah. So I've, like I said, I'd seen multiple people who have been tested and had the negative tests, and but lately there's been more positive tests, but still to this day working, I've yet to hear about any patient that's passed away of this.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, the only patient that I was told at the very beginning who supposedly came to our hospital was and passed away from it. Shockingly enough, they showed up in our unit 2 months later as a live patient. So the person that I was told passed away actually didn't pass away.
What? Hold
Yeah.
on, I better add this to the list. They're coming back from the dead, folks. Good grief. I didn't know this one.
So,
That's brand new to me.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They must have not had social distancing.
yeah.
Okay. That's new to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Interesting.
yeah, so it's been interesting, and yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this a lot at work lately. Actually, in our unit, about the coming down the pipe of the possibility of being told that we have to have
Right.
vaccines in order to keep our jobs, and
Right.
what kind of links we're able to go to. My argument, of course, is going to be, I've had to get the flu vaccine every year for, over a decade, because I was told if I didn't get the vaccine that I had to wear a mask all season. But now I'm going to say, well, you're making me wear a mask all the time anyway,
Right.
so why should I have to get your vaccine?
Right. This will open up a whole can of brand new worms.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're up against.
Yeah.
And so you've seen some weirdness.
Yes, I've seen lots of strange things. I personally have been on the COVID unit,
Mm-hmm.
and seen just there's lots of things that don't match up with what you see and hear in the
Right.
media, that what's actually taking place in hospitals.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with that. So that's that's fine. Unless you have something else
No,
to
I'm good.
to spit out. That's I wanted you to get it from an actual professional on the front line saying, here's what's going on. And I've heard this in and out for a long time. Oh, here you go.
I do know that one of the treatments that there is an experimental treatment that they're using on patients on the COVID unit is giving them plasma transfusions,
Yes.
and some other different drugs that they're experimenting with right
Experimenting
now. Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
other drugs. Plasma, human plasma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow, interesting. That'll take off. That's interesting. So I want you to kind of get this from a standpoint of another person out there in the field, seeing what she's seeing and understanding that your eyes aren't matching up with your ears, so you're going to get seasick. Those two inputs are hitting different spots, and you're going to go, I'm confused. That's part of what's going on out there. So another thing I wanted to, so here's the solutions. How do we fix this? And then I've got a special little, quick little interview here at the end with a friend of mine that I want you to see. The last little solution here. So here's some of the quick solutions. No, don't just kill, murder, maim, grind your television. Huh? Just disconnect it and then take it outside. A baseball bat to it with a shotgun and a metal grinder. Now you have to understand what the agenda is with the media, with the programming. It's called programming for a reason. It's the same thing you do to a computer. So there's programming on your television. If you want to be incited into fits of rage and paranoia and fear and everything else, then go ahead and turn it on and pay a cable company a bunch of money per month to give you lies. You can do that. I don't recommend it, but killing your television would be a wonderful solution. I'm just saying. I did that back a long time ago, and my life got wonderful. Stand up for your rights to assemble and to not bridle or muzzle your face. You have to stand up, or that one meme, let me show you where this is going. It's a very real reality, and nobody can guess or project how long or whatever, but these are some precursors to some things. Decide where you stand before Labor Day. Before shots are required for your children. And what happens on September 9th? A very, very something. I think it's September 9th. Someone very famous is going on trial in this country. September 9th? I think it is. Watch what happens around the first week of September 9th. Just watch what happens. Kids will be going back to school right around that time too. There'll be a big, leading up to, I'm not saying right on September 9th, but leading up to that time, the week or the month before all this September 9th thing happens, somebody's going on trial. Somebody very, very, very famous has to speak under oath. And you're going to see some crazy stuff go down the weeks and or months leading up to that. And we're in the throes of it. So before this is required, decide where you stand. Do your research. Look at What's in those things? We have dozens, hundreds, I would say, of hours of research and videos and documentaries and books and research and videos and documentaries. If you need any more information on that topic, let me know, okay? So this right here, you need to know because it's going that route, and I hope not soon, but it's looking that way. So we knew part 2 was coming around July 4th. So do everything you can to build your defenses immunologically and otherwise. And by otherwise, I mean get whatever you need to protect yourself and your food and your air and your water and make sure you know what's up. So do your part, do everything you can to build your defenses. Everything we do here is meant to make you live longer and make you prosper and make you sickness-free. Illness is optional, okay? Illness, you have to work to be sick. Your body would die on its next breath if you did not have an immune system, so just know that. Everything we do here, chiropractic stimulates your immune system at least 5,000 times from just a simple adjustment. How do I know? You adjust somebody and their nervous system comes on. Their immune system is tied to their nervous system. It's factual, it's scientific, it's peer-reviewed, it's out there. Chiropractic, oldest healing profession on the planet. What is it? Hands of another person. Super easy, laying hands on the sick. All the other stuff we do here. Laser stimulates your DNA. Can we stimulate your immune system with the laser? Yes. How about nutrition? What if we put good stuff into your body so your body can rebuild? And everything we use here is plants and animals and herbs. It's all just simple, easy stuff that's been around for 6,000 years. It's the same dust of the earth that you came out of. That's why it works. So nutrition gets the good stuff in. The other humdinger that we have here is detox. And we've got 3 or 4 different ways to detox you. One is called an ionic detoxification foot spa. One is called an infrared sauna. One is called mechanical detox with nutritional detox. And one is called a pulsed electromagnetic field therapy unit. Any of you that wants to stick around, any of you new people that want to stick around and see a tour and see exactly what some of this stuff does and is, you can do that after this class, which will be done in just about 10 minutes. Then, what was the last thing I was saying? Do everything. Oh yeah, so everything here is meant to boost your immune system and to give you every fighting chance to not only get rid of the stuff you currently have that's bugging you and plaguing you, but to build you up so that you're ready for the supreme craziness that is about to unfold. You do not want to go into this time period coming up, this weird future we have. You do not want to go into this sick and diseased in a hole. You do not. What if you're dependent on 27 medications? What if you're dependent on 2 medications? And the pharmacy's shut down. Bad idea. So build your defenses and be able to handle this stuff on your own, okay? Next, detoxify, bone up on your nutritional status, and avoid self-poisoning. What I mean by that, carry your own hand sanitizer or oils. If you want to know about essential oils, yes, we do that too. Carry your own hand sanitizer or essential oils to avoid dozens of chances to be poisoned in public. They're spraying stuff. Every table you sit down now is sanitized before you got there. With what kind of chemicals? Who knows? Every time you open a door, they're being sanitized. These poor people that have to go and sanitize all the tables, the waiters, the wait staff, the hosts, all these people, the nurses, all the people that have to wear the masks and sanitize everything they touch. That is going airborne. Is that going to increase people's lung problems? And it's going to be labeled as what? Perfect. Exactly. So these are some of your solutions. If you want to know more about the nutritional stuff, the oils, all the other solutions that we have here, we use everything here biblically. Everything is light, water, heat, electricity, plants, animals, and my hands. That's it. So we have a special guest. Let me see the couple of things here. Andre Wilson, come on up, brother. Come on up. Yay! Andre is a friend of mine. Take that microphone, my friend.
Yes, sir.
How you doing? Andre's good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Andre is a friend of mine. From New Orleans, basically right outside New Orleans, right? And speaking to the microphone when we get you going here, so that level's good. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. So he's from New Orleans. Called me up. I'll let you tell a little bit about that. Why are you here? Why'd you come up here?
I came up here. I have a broken hand, and just so happened, I knew that he would do a good job on me, so that's why I'm here.
What had they told you at the ER?
At the ER, they told me they couldn't really do anything for me besides like a $5,000 to $8,000 surgery where they put a screw in my hand, and who knows whatever else would follow with that. It was that, or just put it in a cast for like $400. So there was no in between. There was no setting of anything. It was pretty crooked. It was like almost a 40-degree angle. So there was
47 degree on the X-ray. It was a 47-degree fifth metacarpal break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So then you got here Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Thursday night. So what have we done so far, and how are your results coming?
We've done a lot of pulse on it, and
Pulse electromagnetic field therapy. If you don't know what that is, we'll show you.
and just kind of massaging it and moving into a much better position.
Moving it.
Yeah.
Did it hurt when we moved it?
It did hurt. It did hurt. So I actually picked up a different accent.
He did.
He moved around.
He picked up a different accent. I didn't know he had that dialect. I had no idea. I could barely understand him, but he was breathing really heavy too.
Yes. Yes.
What else did we do for it?
We put some oils on it
Mhm.
that helped bring
else?
down a lot of inflammation.
Mhm.
And
What else? Laser.
laser. We did laser while I was in the pulse. I was also
Yep.
on the laser.
Laser and pulse at the same time. So we're sending electromagnetic fields through it to increase the body's ability to heal that thing, getting it in touch with the frequencies of the earth that you've not been in touch with for a long time. Plus, at the same time, we're hitting it with the laser to stimulate the DNA of the bone, of the tissue, to decrease inflammation and getting it to regenerate all of the proteins that that bone needs to heal. What else do we do?
Put me on some supplements.
Nutrition, yes. Why? Well, what's the bone made of? Minerals. What are we going to put him on? Heavy duty, boom, take this, boom, take this, boom, take this every 2-3 hours. So your body's just getting this influx of awesome stuff to heal that thing, right?
Yes.
So where would you say, what's been your improvement so far?
I would say I came
days.
in at about like just a 7, considering the angle. And
7 of how bad it was bugging
yeah,
you?
how bad it was bugging me, and it was just starting to feel weird, just like messing with my equilibrium because it was just so out of balance.
Mhm.
And now it's in a much better position. My mobility is much better. I mean, and I've only been here for, a couple 3 days.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, today's day 4.
Yeah.
And here's his parents. He brought his parents up. So everybody, Steve and Suzette, yeah. So where would you say you are now? You went from a 7 to a what?
Down to around like a 2 or a 3.
Right on.
So just a couple days.
So 4 days, and 4 days, and it dropped to well over a 50% increase, 50% decrease in symptoms and in wackiness. We would
Yeah.
say it was just all out of whack.
Yeah, it was all out of whack, and it was at that crazy angle, and they heated up this soft cast, and I was like, oh, she's gonna come in, or he's gonna come and set it, or do something. No, she just took it and just squeezed it on my hand, and there was no difference from whenever it broke. So they didn't put it in any new position or anything.
Yeah.
They just closed it on there, and that was it.
Yeah, it was interesting. The X-ray he sent showed me, the angle that it was off, and he said, "Can you fix this? Let's do it. Let's try it. Your body will fix. No, I can't fix it, but your body will. It's your faith. You're living in fear, or you're living in faith. That's where you're at. So now, real reason why you're up here. I wanted to get a little bit of that because I wanted to milk a testimonial out of you.
Real reason I'm here.
After all this work.
Yeah.
Real reason is Andre a while ago, a couple of years ago, turned me on to a gentleman called Wim Hof. Do any of you know Wim Hof? Wim Hof is known as the Iceman. He's a gentleman, I'll just say this, and then I'll let you tell the whole story. Wim Hof is a gentleman who climbed Mount Everest pretty much in his boxers. And he did it
In record time.
in record time, climbed Mount Everest. He's about a 50-something, 60-year-old
He's 62.
Dutch guy.
Yeah.
62-year-old Dutch guy. Wim, W-I-M, Hof, H-O-F. You'll start hearing about this guy all over the place. You mentioned a couple of years ago when we first met, and then I started seeing this guy everywhere. I was like, wow, I must have to learn a message from this guy. What you start realizing is he does all these amazing feats just by breathing. If there's one thing that we all do, some people don't see, some people don't hear, some people don't walk. What we all do is breathe. Why? Remember that slide, spirit, the breath of God into the nostrils of man, pneuma, right? Everybody has that if you're human. Wim Hof pretty much studied this and figured out, well, yeah, breathing's kind of important, and I'll let Andre talk more about this. So give us a brief little overview on who is Wim Hof.
Yeah, so Wim Hof, he's a Dutch daredevil, and he's got 26 Guinness World Records. I think there's upwards to, he's surpassing that because he keeps beating his own records and doing other stuff. Climbs Mount Everest in his shorts in record timing, runs marathons across the Namibian desert with no water in record time. And the reason why he's able to do this, well, specifically climbing the mountains, is because whenever you're climbing a tall mountain, you have to stop and camp out for your body to acclimate to the altitude. But if you're just constantly breathing and respirating at the rate you need to, you don't have to acclimate. He has the record time for hanging from a hot air balloon from one finger.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's like 20 seconds. So helps you with endurance and just ramping up your system a lot. But the most notable thing he's done was they have an experiment that they do. It's called an endotoxin experiment, to where you volunteer and you get paid X amount of dollars to get injected with a piece of E. coli that is it's a dead piece of E. coli, but your immune system doesn't know the difference. And what they'll do is they'll give you a pharmaceutical, and they'll see how it can suppress your immune response and get rid of the inflammation, the hives, the fever, and the rashes, and all that's going to happen. And but he goes in and he says, "You don't give me any pharmaceutical. I'll just get injected with this bacteria, and I'll do this breathing, which is just simple respiration, almost over breathing, almost hyperventilation, but very controlled. And within 15 minutes, he was able to completely eradicate this bacteria from his body completely. And after they did this, they're like, well, you're this Iceman. You can do all this other crazy stuff. You must be some type of anomaly. We can't say that humans can do this. But he said everyone can do this. All you just have to learn how to breathe properly. So most of us, we based off of diet and other things, it hinders your respiration towards just here. But if we can learn to breathe down deep into the belly, also, the diet, if you're eating any type of refined sugars, that's going to cause you to start mouth breathing. And whenever you start mouth breathing, you're not using your nose. And when you use your nose, that activates nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. So that's going to help open your blood vessels. So that's a whole other component that you can start thinking about. And they're like, we can't say that people can do this. And so he's like, well, no problem. I can teach people to do this in just a couple days. And so he teaches 12 people over the course of 3 days, and they have a study, 12 people that he taught, 12 people he didn't teach, and they're all able to get rid of it in 15 minutes, the bacteria.
It's interesting stuff. Yeah, and Wim Hof, he's known as the Iceman. If you just do a simple search on YouTube or something like that, it'll blow your mind.
I was able to. I was in his training program.
Oh yeah,
so I'm a certified Wim Hof instructor.
Yeah,
and I was kind of learned with him. We had a really cool thing is we went up a mountain, a frosted mountain in Portland, and you're doing this breathing. I can teach it. I can give you an example of it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube where he'll give you the perfect example of it. But it's just simply exhaling and just filling up your belly, and then filling up your ribs. And then all the way up through the chest into the head, and then you let it go, and then you just do that for like 50 breaths or so on that 4-count cadence: belly, ribs, chest, and up, and go.
Whereas most people breathe right here. Watch my muscles. They're using these accessory muscles of respiration, which will then give you a headache and neck pain. You're supposed to use your diaphragm here. If anyone's ever been trained singing or speaking from the stage or anything, it's always diaphragmatic breathing, but we instinctively do this with our neck muscles.
Yes. So you do 40 or 50 breaths, and you feel lightheaded, you feel dizzy, you feel tingly, but that's just because you have so much extra energy in your body. And then you're able to hold your breath for after exhalation. So you exhale, you take your 50th breath, you let it go, and then you're able to hold your breath for probably 1 minute to 2 minutes just on your first try, just because you have so much of that pre-stored in your body. And so what this does is it's building up carbon dioxide in your body, and the little pockets in your lungs open up, and they're ready to breathe in oxygen. And so whenever you get that little stimulus, like, okay, I need to breathe, you take a big breath in, and you get a rush of adrenaline, and that brings white blood cells and anti-inflammatory proteins, and that's what he was able to do to defeat E. coli in just a matter of minutes.
Simple breathing.
Yeah.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Like
And I've been...
an incentive spirometer.
Say what now?
It's like using an incentive spirometer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I've started coming across more and more of his stuff, and it was so interesting because Andre was here this weekend, and he came up, and his family came up on Thursday night, and then we treated him Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today. And I was studying and putting some stuff together for this class. In the meantime, we went to Chattanooga a couple times, and everywhere we went, some places wouldn't let you in without a mask, and so we politely turned around and left over and over and over. But there was one place that wasn't forcing you to wear a mask. It's the only place we went. So spent a lot of time over the weekend talking about breathing. I thought, well, who better? I'm in the shower this morning. I'm like, well, yeah, who better to talk about breathing than this guy, certified Wim Hof. Now, here's the final question for you. What would Wim Hof say about, or what do you know about Wim Hof that he would say about mask, about wearing a mask and the effects that it would have on your body? Being a certified Wim Hof instructor, you did what, a year-long online thing?
Yeah, it was
you did
year-long online.
two retreats. and a 7-day,
It was two weekend workshops and then a 7-day retreat.
7-day retreat.
Now, I can't speak for Wim. You can hear. There's a lot of podcasts, and you can get a really clear idea of what his opinion on just things in general. But based on what I know and the general consensus of how the Americans breathe is we're so shallow that I would assume that you aren't able to clear the carbon dioxide from the mask fast enough. And then as soon as you put a mask on and you're not used to wearing a mask, you're probably going to enter into a sympathetic fight or flight state right away. And so you're going to start...
Especially if everyone around you is 6 feet away from you and everybody's giving you that look like, which way are you going? Like you get when you go places.
Yeah.
Right?
And so especially someone who's not used to wearing it, such as these are essential workers, and then all of a sudden you have to wear a mask for 12 hours a day. Like I have my best friend, he works at a vitamin shop, and he said since he started wearing the mask, it's been harder and harder to breathe every day. And so that's, it's just wild.
Well, let me dispel one thing that you'll see out there quite a bit, because you'll see people with videos and you'll see people saying with the memes and the snarky little comments, well, tell your surgeon next time he cuts you open to not wear a mask if you're going to be so disrespectful. Here's the deal. Those masks are designed for the patient, not the surgeon. Those masks are designed so that you're not spitting into, barfing, puking, dropping, crying, snotting into an open incision. Sorry, a lot of verbs there, right? So also, here's the deal too. The doctors aren't wearing those while under exertion. They're not climbing stairs, they're not waiting tables, they're not digging holes. End of story. But if you put those on somebody, I know I've tried it a couple times. I put on a mask that's just a see-through little sleeve, and I go climb a set of stairs. Does this affect me? Massively. Massively. How can people say that it doesn't affect you? So just to know that you're rebreathing that oxygen, you're rebreathing those same things over and over and over again, rebreathing the CO2, I mean, you're rebreathing and it's getting moist and damp and it's a face diaper, and then you're imbibing all of that again. So I would have to assume that the master of breathing, Wim Hof, would probably say, bad idea.
I would assume.
Yeah, I know you can't speak for him.
Right.
Well, let's just say this. What would you say about masks?
I think that
Forget Wim
it
Hof,
would
what would you say?
definitely have an effect on you if it's something you're not used to, and if you're going to be wearing it for that long, it's not. I wouldn't think it would be a good idea. And from the times I've had to put it on, like the first time I went to the emergency room, it was very interesting how restricted, based on how aware I am of my breath, and as soon as I put a mask on, this is a completely different experience right away.
Right away, yeah. Yeah, well, thank you, brother. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. You answered most of the other stuff. Just,
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, so that being said, you can look up some Wim Hof stuff. I will say, Andre and I did the Wim Hof, he taught me the Wim Hof method about a year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Did that, and it blew my mind. I mean, just the effects of it were instantaneous. So you should check this out. I will remind you also, so everybody, so thank you, and thank you for adding to that. To the class. WellWorks Rewards Club. If you do have a little punch card, don't forget to check out with Nadia. Do I need to say anything else about this? I think that's it, right? Come to the WellWorks event. Bring a new guest with you to event. If you're somebody who's brought a guest, you get another stamp. Check it on Facebook. Everybody, hey, haul out your cellular devices. Like us, send us, or send this to people. Tell people about us, and check in on Facebook. You can check in and get a stamp. And share the live stream on Facebook during the events. Pull out your little cellular devices and go do that. And then that's about it. Any questions before we sign off of Facebook? Oh, we've got some giveaways. We'll do that in a minute. If you're a new person and you want to see what we're doing, we'll do a quick tour, and I can show you around and show you what all this nonsense is that we're talking about if you've never been here before. Any questions, any comments, concerns, anything online? Going once. Easy peasy. We're in and out of here. Going twice. And... well, we'll give those away while we're on. What do we got? Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything online that we got to answer that you know of? Anything else? Thank you. Good. All right, signing off. Next week, we will probably be doing, don't hold me to it, but it will probably be Lies Doctors Tell Part 3. And then the following week after that, we will do more whatever happens. I've got my eyes on the horizon and my ear to the ground with this whole thing. So in 2 more weeks, we'll be catching up on whatever's happened between now and then. So stay safe, stay out of trouble. We'll do these offline, and then we'll answer some questions here too. And thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Remember, WellWorks is every week. July 20th. Thank you very much. Everybody, woo! All right. Everybody, woo!